Hello everyone, I, Mr. Chirag, I would like to welcome you all for a video session on Ocean Thermal Energy Conversion, that is generally known as OTEC or OTEC. Now, this is a part of your fifth module. We have initially talked about geothermal energy in our previous lectures. Today, what I am going to talk is regarding your Ocean Thermal Energy Conversion, that is OTEC energy. Okay, now before moving on to this topic, I would just like to bring to your note that this particular topic will be around 8 to 10 marks in your end semester exam, and there will be definitely numerical asked from this particular topic which will be around 5 marks. So it is a very simple topic, plus there is a numerical that can be asked from this particular topic. Now regarding the syllabus, now the ocean thermal energy conversion syllabus is quite small as compared to what your geothermal energy syllabus was. In this particular topic, we are only going to talk about types of cycle, that is open cycle, closed cycle, hybrid cycle. Initially, I will give you introduction what is OTC. Then we will be moved on to prospect of OTCs, that is what are the advantages, disadvantages, application and its prospect in Indian, as India is having a very large coastal area that can be used to harness this particular power. Now introduction. Now what exactly does OTAC means, okay, or OTC mean? So I hope you all have gone to beaches during the summer. If you have gone to certain depth which is actually not advisable due to the safety purpose, but if you sometimes have gone at certain depth, you would have found that the top layer is somewhat warmer as compared to the bottom layer. Now, why this particular phenomenon takes place? This is because when the solar radiation is incident onto the surface of the water, the top layer gets all the energy. As this energy is absorbed by the top layer, the temperature of the top layer increases. As the temperature increases, what happens is the density also increases. Correct? So the density increases, so the top layer being less dense as compared to that in the bottom layer, so it tries to be at the top and there is no natural convection taking place. Okay, so the lightweight particles are at the top due to decrease in the density. Okay, whereas at the bottom it is highly dense particles are present. So due to this case there is no convection taking place and the top layer will always remain at somewhat higher temperature. Okay, that is due to the density difference. Now if we are able to get this warm water from the top layer, as well as if we are able to get the cold water from the bottom layer of the ocean, then we can use this particular thing to generate power, because for power generation we require something known as source and something known as sink, that is your thermodynamics concept. Correct? uh, Take example Rankine cycle. In Rankine cycle, what is your source? The boiler where you get the steam. What is your sink? The condenser where you dissipate, or where you, I mean, the heat is taken out of the system. Correct, where you dissipate the heat. So this exact concept of the Rankine cycle can even be applied over here. So that is how the OTC concept is altogether taken into consideration, and that is how we try to generate power. Now it is a renewable energy technology. Okay, why renewable? Because we are using no fossil fuels. Okay, we are using ocean energy which is abundantly available. It is free of cost. Correct. It is an indirect source of solar energy because solar energy is absorbed by the water in the ocean. Okay, and the sun hits the surface at the top and the bottom surface remains cold, and that is how we harness the energy. Now just keep the concept as clear as the water gets heated up at the top, the density of the water decreases. As the density decreases, it stays at the top level. It stays at the top level. The water at the bottom level is much more denser, so it settles at the bottom, and the top layer is much more warmer as compared to the bottom layer. Let's go ahead and check what is the principle. Now you must have heard Lambert's law of absorption. It is a very simple law which gives us how much radiation is absorbed by water at particular depth. Okay, so in this particular equation, I naught is nothing but the intensity at the surface. Which intensity? Solar radiation. Okay, so what is general value of solar radiation in extraterrestrial? It is 1367. Correct. So I mean around 1100 to 1000 watts per meter square during a good summer day is possible. That is the intensity at the surface. Intensity at the surface at certain depth. At certain depth, the depth is known as h. Okay, at certain depth, what will be the intensity? That is given by IH. Okay, and this mu present over here is nothing but your absorption coefficient. Now it is different for different materials. If it is a clear water, it is 0.05. If it is salty water, it is 0.5. If it is turbid water, it is 0.275. And as I said before, the h is nothing but your depth from the top. So if I just get my mathematics correct, and if you want to just verify it, just put this HS6. Okay, HS6 mu as for salty water it is 0.5, and IH upon I naught you will be getting around 0.05, that is 95%. 1 minus 0.05 is around 0.95, that is 95%. So you will come to know that 95% of the energy is already absorbed with the height of 6 meters. Okay, so what do you exactly understand? Say this is my ocean depth. On 6-meter heights itself, my 95% energy is absorbed. So, but obviously, very less energy will be available at the bottom surface, or there will be no energy, there will be no electromagnetic radiation that can pass through water at that particular depth. So, in this case, the temperature at the bottom will always remain cold. So, this is the working principle of your OTEC or your OTEC system. So the surface temperature is around 25 degrees at the top layer, whereas at the bottom layer or at the depth of 1000 meters, that is around 1 kilometer, is only about 5 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this temperature difference of 20 degrees Celsius, that is nothing but 20 minus 5, is used to generate your power. Fine with this? Okay, now let's move ahead. Now, location. So this plant can be located near seashore. So in case if it is near seashore, as one in the Hawaii, this is the working model. You can just check different YouTube videos of this particular working model. It is on the seashore. There are pipelines which are connected which are carrying the cold water as well as warm water from the sea. It is connected to this particular system and the power is generated. Okay, then there can be a floating plant. That is, a plant itself is floated inside the ocean, where there is a pipe which goes inside. It takes the cold water, the warm water is taken from the top surface, and the power generation can take place. Then there can be something known as there was a big initially when the research on this particular topic was going on, what we did is there was a big vessel, okay, or a big ship which used to carry the entire system, and there used to be some huge pipes which used to bring the water from the bottom layer. Okay, so this particular system itself can generate power, and that can be transferred later on. Fine. So this is how a offshore system works. This is a onshore system. There can be again a different version of offshore system, like that of your oil rig. Okay, everyone is aware of oil rig. What exactly is oil rig? Everyone knows it. Fine. So a oil rig like platform can be created inside the ocean. Okay, inside the ocean it can be created, and on the top there can be different systems, okay, which are required to generate power, and a cold water can be drawn from bottom. Warm water can be taken from comparatively top layers, and you can generate power. So let's move ahead. Now this particular topic is the most important topic of this particular module. That is what I can say. There are three basic types of cycles, and everyone must learn those all three basic types of cycles, and one of the questions from this particular three cycles is definite to be asked in your end semester examination. So the first of all is nothing but your open cycle system. This is also known as Claude cycle, open cycle or Claude cycle. The question may be asked as define open cycle system or a Claude cycle. Fine. So as you have seen the word open, okay, yeah, first let me clear out all these three basic types of OTEC systems are used to generate power. Okay, these are power generating systems. So the first is open. As the word open, now what do you understand by the word open? The system is open. Like your gas turbine, there is something known as open cycle and there is something known as closed cycle, correct? So over here the cycle is open means the working fluid which is taken in is not circulated in the loop itself, but it is left to the surroundings, correct? So in this case the working fluid is your water itself. Now the water from the top layer, okay, from the top layer, that is around say 25 degrees Celsius, 25 degrees Celsius, okay, is taken up and it is sent to a deaerator. Now what is this deaerator? Deaerator is a place where once the water goes, the pressure is slightly low, there is a lot of surface area onto which a thin film of water is deposited and the gases are evolved out. Now why to evolve these gases? Now if these gases are present in the system, they can be corrosive in nature, and these corrosive gases can cause harm to the entire system, which has to be prevented, and hence there is a deaerator. So everyone has to remember the pressure inside a deaerator is somewhat less and it helps to get out the non-condensable gases from the system, okay, which are corrosive in nature. Then that water is taken into flash evaporator. Now a flash evaporator is a system which has a vacuum or a negative pressure, okay, with compared to atmosphere. It is a negative pressure, the pressure is quite low, okay. So if I ask you a question, what is the boiling point of water, everyone would answer it as 100 degrees Celsius, but in actual practice it is 100 degrees Celsius at 1 atmosphere. So if I go at say 120 degree, uh, will always my water get boiled up? No. If I increase my pressure, my temperature of boiling point also increases, correct? That is what the concept is used in your pressure cooker. Now, similarly, if I reduce the pressure, okay, if I reduce the pressure, my boiling point will also be less. So we reduce the pressure, that is we create a negative pressure up to a point where water at say 25 or 27 degree can get evaporated. That is the purpose of your flash evaporator. So in your flash evaporator, a water at say 27 degrees Celsius also evaporates because the pressure itself is negative, because I am connecting a vacuum pump to the entire system. ठीक है, तो वैक्यूम पंप उसको नेगेटिव प्रेशर क्रिएट करेगा और फ्लैश एंड वाटर गेट फ्लैश्ड अप इनटू स्टीम. Now this low pressure steam itself is used to run a turbine, and that turbine is connected to a generator. Now this turbine, once it starts running, okay, the power can be generated, okay, through a generator. The exhaust steam is again condensated by using the cold water from the depth. Now everyone is aware of the thermodynamics concept that there has to be a source and there has to be a sink, okay. The sink, the lower the temperature of the sink, the higher the efficiency I will be getting, correct? Okay, the higher the temperature of the source, the higher the efficiency. So the source is 25 degrees Celsius, the sink has to be at somewhat lower temperature, so that is why we use a cold water which is around say 5 degrees Celsius, okay, that is used. It is used in a direct contact condenser. Now what is direct contact condenser? uh, Say your steam is getting mixed with the cold water from the ocean. That is what your direct contact condenser does. A cold water from the ocean is taken, it is mixed with the steam, and I get a cold condensate that is again passed into ocean. Now in the place of direct contact condenser, if I use a surface heat exchanger, where a normal heat exchanger where I mean you all are aware what is surface heat exchanger. Okay, let me tell you, it is nothing but there is an indirect heat exchange between the two things, like your shell and tube heat exchanger, your plate type heat exchanger. Okay, so over here, if indirect heat exchanger is used or surface type heat exchanger is used, the condensate which I am getting, the steam, exhaust steam which I will be getting, if I condensate it, it will be a desalinated water. Desalinated water is nothing but your distilled water which is without any salts. Okay, the water without any salt, and that particular water has certain commercial value. Where it is used in your batteries and even in different chemical processes. So this particular thing can be used over there, and that can be a very useful, okay, because it will give me a commercial value also. So sometimes a indirect heat exchanger can also be used over here, but the cost is very high, and the issue is all this system works on saline water. Okay, so the material which has to be used is having a very high cost. Okay, again, the life of the entire plant is very low because of the corrosive nature. Hence, in order to avoid it, sometimes even a direct contact condenser can be used. So the things that we have discussed regarding open cycle system, okay, so seawater plays multiple roles as a heat source, working fluid, coolant, heat sink. Everything is done by the seawater itself. Okay, initially the water enters the evaporator, then the deaerator, then the evaporator or flash evaporator, what we say, where there is a vacuum. Okay, a low pressure is painted by the vacuum pump. The non condensable gases are removed. The pressure maintained is around 0.0317. In general, what is the pressure of your atmosphere? That is around 1 bar. Okay, so that is the saturation pressure where it can get boiled up. That particular superheated steam is then used to run a turbine, and it is used to generate electricity. Okay, the exhaust is mixed using a direct contact condenser as shown in my diagram, but even a indirect condenser or a surface condenser is used, then I can get a desalinated water in that particular case. Okay, so this was about open cycle. Now let's go on to the next system, that is a closed cycle. Now in closed cycle system, as the name suggests, the working fluid is closed inside a loop. Now the working fluid over here is nothing but your freon. Okay, so it is nothing but a refrigerant having low boiling point. Now why low boiling point? Because the working fluid has to be such that it can get easily evaporated. It has to be easily evaporated at even lower temperature. The temperature over here, the maximum temperature what I will be getting is around what? Say 27 degree. So at that particular temperature, there has to be a change in phase. That is, it has to go from liquid to vapor. Hence, a low boiling point fluid is used, which is nothing but a refrigerant. So it is used in this, the loop which is inside. I will just mark it out so that it is easily visible for you all. Okay, in this particular loop there is your low boiling point fluid, that is freon in this particular case. It can be anything, it can be R22, it can be R21, all the refrigerant that we generally use for your commercial refrigerator. The only thing is the boiling point has to be nearer to the maximum temperature. The warm water is brought from the sea, it is passed to a heat exchanger, and then it is left out into the sea. Now this heat exchanger passes the heat of the warm water onto your freon. Now this thing, just if you want a similar process, you can imagine a Rankine process. In Rankine process, there is something known as boiler where the heat is given. Here there is a heat exchanger. Then there is a turbine. Here there is again a turbine which is coupled with a generator, and it will generate power. Okay, it will generate power. Then there is a condenser. Okay, here there is a condenser. So condenser has to have some cold fluid. I mean, it has to have some lower temperature so that I can condense my fluid. So over here, in order to condense it, I am using the cold water from sea. Okay, I am condensating it, and then that liquid freon is passed on to the pump. So it is very similar to your Rankine cycle. The only difference is in the place of a boiler you have a heat exchanger. Fine. So this is a loop. That is why it is known as closed cycle or Anderson cycle, since it was discovered by Anderson. Okay, and this is the another loop where the warm water from the ocean is bought. Fine. So I hope you all have understood a closed cycle. So it has two separate working fluids. It can be ammonia, propane, freon, all the refrigerants which are commercially used. Okay. The warm surface water is pumped to a boiler by the pump. Okay. So that is boiler. That is nothing but your heat exchanger. That is your heat exchanger. Same thing. Okay. This warm water, then it gives out heat to the secondary working fluid. Okay, and once it is given to the secondary working fluid, the secondary working fluid is used to run a turbine. Fine, and then it is condenser, and using a condenser which is which uses the cold water from the cold deep sea water. Okay, and again your freon or again your refrigerant is circulated back using a pump. Fine with this? Okay, so let's move on to your next, the third type and the final type of OTEC system, that is hybrid OTC cycle. Now in hybrid OTC cycle, it is, I mean, once you have just take a look at this particular system, what exactly do you understand is this particular side, this is nothing but your open cycle. This is your open cycle, this particular side, and this is your closed. This is your closed. Okay, this particular part. So as the word suggests, hybrid. Hybrid means it is a combination of two things, that is open and a closed. Fine. So all the components of the open cycle, right from deaerator, flash evaporator are present over here. Okay. Uh, there is something known as liquid brine, which I just forgot to talk when I was talking about open cycle. So this liquid brine is nothing but a water which is left out having the salts. So it is somewhat heavier than your particular general water because the salt concentration is quite high, and that is left back into your ocean. So if the word brine is generally used for a water which has a high concentration of salt. So the salt which is once the flashing takes place, there are some salt which is left out in the flash chamber. That salt plus the water is then back left into the ocean. So that was regarding the open cycle. Now from here, if it was a open cycle, here you used to directly combine it with turbine, but here there is something known as heat exchanger, that is a part of your closed cycle. So that particular heat exchanger, this particular part, that is your heat exchanger, is a part of closed cycle actually, which is used in order to generate heat, and it gives heat to this particular part. Just a second. Okay, so it gives heat to this particular loop. Okay, that is nothing but your closed cycle, and that closed cycle drives the entire system, the turbine, generator, the same thing, and it is left out. Now my question is, there was something known as open cycle, there was something known as closed cycle. Now why to combine all those two things? Okay, so here is the answer. Now initially in the open system, as you saw, the steam directly used to run a turbine. But when that used to happen, there are different bacterias, there are different biologically active microorganisms in the ocean water, which causes the deposition of those particular organisms onto the surface of your system, that can lead to fouling. Okay, so all those microorganisms or living organisms start get deposited on your surface of the system, and that can cause a fouling, which can be very harmful for that particular system. Also, when I was talking about closed cycle system, there was heat exchanger. We used to directly take seawater. So that particular seawater over here, it can cause fouling in the heat exchanger, and the efficiency of the heat exchanger can be much lower in that particular case of a fouling. So in order to avoid it, we use hybrid system. There is one more benefit of this particular system, that the condensate which I am getting over here is nothing but your desalinated water. And as I said, it has a certain commercial value which can be very useful. So hybrid system, it is the combination of both closed and open. Okay, it is a similar, everything is similar to the open and closed system. There is a secondary fluid, there is in the closed loop. In open cycle there is a seawater. Okay, turbine is connected to the generator, and there is a heat exchanger that can provide desalinated water. So let's go ahead, we can talk few advantages of this particular system. So what are the advantages? Power developed is always continuous. Why continuous? Because the temperature gradient in the sea is somewhat less during the night time, but it is always present. Okay, your land mass can reject heat at a faster rate as compared to the water. Why water has a higher, why water retains heat for the more time? Because it has a higher heat carrying capacity, or the Cp of the water is much higher. So heat carrying capacity is much higher, and that is why, though the temperature difference will be less, but the power can be available almost throughout the year. Even if there are seasonal variations, the temperature difference is much less, because sun is almost available, and it will incident radiation almost available throughout the seasons. Sun is almost available throughout the seasons. It will incident the radiation onto your water, and that particular water will get warm up, and the cold water will remain cold. There are seasonal variations, I agree, but they are quite less in ocean as compared to all the other forms of renewable energy, that is solar and wind. The source is infinite, ocean is infinite, everyone knows, and the solar area is almost throughout the year. It is a renewable because there is no fossil fuel. It is a clean, it conserves fossil fuel as it is a renewable. Okay, it can be even used to make desalinated water or distilled water, and there is no transportation involved because the plant itself is at the shore itself. So the transportation, like in case of a coal or conventional power plant, not